Noticing grammar, the present simple. Let's look a little bit more closely at the story you read. What did you notice? Did this story talk about Ron's past life, present habits, or future? You're right. It was about his daily routine, his present habits. What is a habit? A habit is something that someone usually does or usually does not do. Do you remember some of Ron's habits from the reading? For example, he wakes up every day at 5:30. He doesn't usually add sugar to his coffee. He often helps his children with their homework. Every day, usually, and often are important words here. They tell us we are talking about habits. These words are called adverbs of frequency. Here are some other adverbs of frequency. You should use these when you use the present simple to talk about habits. But there's something else that we should notice here. It's the form of the verb. This verb form is called the present simple. It's easy to form the present simple. For subjects I, you, we, and they, you simply use the base form of the verb. Some people call this the simple form. For third-person singular subjects, that's he, she, or it, we put an S on the end of the verb. So the children walk, but Jane walks because Jane is she. Okay? So to form affirmative forms, this is the rule. Now look at these sentences. Which of these sentences has a small difference in the verb form? You're right. It's the first one. In this one, the verb is walks with an S. That's because the subject, Sam or she, is a third-person singular subject. We can't forget the S. You can think of this S as a sticky S, so you don't forget it, just like a sticky piece of gum on your shoe. For negative sentences, we start with the subject, and then we use do not or don't for I, you, we, and they, or does not and doesn't for he, she, it, plus the base form of the verb. For example, they don't eat dessert every day. Jane doesn't pick the children up from school. Be careful. This time the sticky S is in a different place. When you write a negative sentence in the present simple and the subject is he, she, or it, the sticky S is in doesn't. Notice there is no S on the end of the verb. To make a question in the present simple, we also need do or does, the helping verb. If you want to use a question word, like when or where, you should start with that. Then, use the helping verb do for I, you, we, or they, and does for he, she, it. followed by the subject, and finally, the base form of the verb. For example, where do you live? I live in the US. You should come visit me. Be careful. Avoid these common errors. It's wrong to say, my mother always takes care of me. We should say, my mother always takes care of me, because mother is a third person singular subject, she. We cannot say this sentence. We have to use the helping verb doesn't or don't when we make a negative sentence. Finally, we have a helping verb here, but this is the wrong helping verb. Which one do we need? You got it. We need doesn't, because Peter is third person singular subject, he. Be careful to avoid making these mistakes. So now you know that we use the present simple to talk about present habits and routines. In addition to talking about habits, we can also use the present simple to talk about permanent truths and present states. Let's look at an example from the reading. We know Ron wakes up at 5:30 every morning. This is an example of a habit. Ron is patient and kind. That's a permanent truth. That's part of his personality. Permanent means forever, lasting forever. And Ron's students like and respect him. The verbs like and respect are verbs of state. For more information about the present simple, you can learn more about be verbs, irregular forms, that means forms that are different, and spelling rules.